in the office with Representative Mike Jackson. Representative Jackson, thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It's been an active couple of weeks for the Enid delegation. First of all, getting a lot of press is the puppy mill issue that you were in the forefront.
Sure. Senate Bill 1712 passed the House last week, and this week, actually, the Senate amendments were accepted. Actually, I think the final passage was 2917. And basically what that did is set up what we believe is some common sense regulation in terms of regulating some of the puppy mills. If you have 11 breeding dogs or more, then you would be regulated under this piece of legislation if you're in the business of selling puppies. We believe that that actually addresses the issue that we're trying to address.
So that's a good thing. You guys put up good legislation. It passes through. Now, something else that's happened, and it's evident within the Enid community because it actually had grassroots beginnings in Enid. Talk about that.
Well, this week, actually, I had the opportunity to go to an event honoring Lou Ward, who received the Ronald Reagan Award, which is an award that actually is only given every other year by the Oklahoma Republican Party. And during that, it was discussed the We the People movement, which is a movement trying to go out and get signatures to ask our Attorney General to enter into the lawsuits which many states across the union have entered into in terms of the health care legislation. And basically this weekend I was walking around the home show with my daughter Cadence and my wife Kara, and we had the opportunity to stop and talk for a little while in terms of how many signatures have actually occurred in the city of Enid. And so far, approximately 1,400 signatures have been collected in Enid, which is a very big deal.
Yeah, 1,400 individuals think enough about this movement to put their name on a line and say, hey, we want some activity. When we think about that, that's a petition in Enid. How does that then go and have impact across the state?
Well, I think that right now they are continuing to try to broaden their base in terms of trying to find other people who are also interested in the Attorney General getting out and taking Oklahoma into that lawsuit, saying, you know, that the health care legislation was non-constitutional and all those kinds of things. So I think it'll continue to broaden. Right now, there is also a movement, and I think that these are all kind of coordinated, but this week we'll also hear HJR 1054, which is a piece of legislation that basically asks the Attorney General to get involved in the lawsuit as well. It also authorizes the House of Representatives and the State Senate to look at outside lawyers and those kinds of things. It basically gives the option for the individual to opt in, opt out, and basically tries to protect the individual in terms of the health care legislation that was passed.
So in the recent weeks, once the health care issue was passed, our Attorney General in the state of Oklahoma decided not to pursue the suit that was filed by 13 or many more states now. But what the We the People movement would like to see is they would like to see the office of the Attorney General actually engage.
That is correct, and that's kind of the grassroots movement that started in Enid, and basically right now they're continuing to collect signatures, and I'm sure that you can find a place to actually sign that somewhere along the way. But right now the Attorney General has decided not to enter into that lawsuit. He is hearing from a lot of Oklahomans that they want him to enter into that lawsuit. So I would encourage each and every person that is interested and has some concerns about the health care legislation to find out where the We the People petition is and sign it, because that will help encourage the Attorney General to enter into that lawsuit.
And as with any of our lawmakers, getting on the phone or emailing is also very effective as well, even if you've signed the petition.
Oh, sure.
And now on the second front, I guess we would call it the legislature. Explain a little bit more about that. The legislature is actually coming up with ideas to say, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, we'll do it a different way?
Sure. And that's kind of the HJR 1054, kind of looking at different possibilities in terms of how to address the healthcare issue, because in the last few months, or actually the last year, it has been the primary focus. And looking at what the healthcare legislation will do to the state budget, we have to take some action, because Oklahoma is right now not in a, I mean, you already hear about the budget issues and how we're going to have to cut $1 billion out of the budget and all these kinds of things. Well, with the federal healthcare initiative or law now, we are going to be faced with additional expenditures that we're not going to be able to do without making some cuts in other areas. So it's kind of an issue that we're having to address from a necessity perspective, as well as from an overall outcry from our constituents in the state of Oklahoma.
Well, in something else that was interesting this week, and you don't see it all that often, but there was there were veto overrides in the different houses. And there's one issue in particular that we're interested in, and that's the firearms issue. And Representative Enns, I understand, is in the middle of that as well. Could you explain?
He is, and the governor actually vetoed not Representative Enns' bill, but he has a very similar measure that is still going through the process. But it was a bill by Representative Key and Representative Brogdon, and basically it's a bill that says anybody who manufactures guns is protected in the state of Oklahoma, and you can come and manufacture those guns. And we're going to encourage you to come to Oklahoma and create jobs in the state of Oklahoma. It's a very common sense kind of a thing, but right now there's a lot of pushback on firearms issues and those kinds of things. So the governor decided to veto it. I do believe that the House of Representatives will move into another veto override, which the governor has actually already been overridden twice in this week alone.
Wow. And the firearms issue, though, is not to do with owning firearms. It's the manufacturer of firearms, and it's providing, as you say, incentives, or it's providing for businesses who make those guns to want to locate here. Explain that.
It's not really providing incentive. There are incentives in place, like the Quality Jobs Program and other types of incentives, including 5-year exempt manufacturing program. So there are incentives in place to encourage them to come here. The issue is in other states and in the federal government, there is a lot of discussion about possibly getting to the idea of not allowing for those to be built in their individual state, be it Massachusetts, be it New York, be it Washington or California. We're just simply saying in Oklahoma, if you want to manufacture that product, that we're going to allow that, and we're going to state that in our statute, and we're going to hopefully get the message out to those individuals who are hiring and employ people in Oklahoma.
Okay, so it sounds like an economic measure for the state.
It is. It is.
Well, Representative Jackson, a lot of good information and a lot of activity going on with the representation from Enid.
Sure, there is a lot of activity. I mean, we have, I think, Senator Anderson and myself, as well as Representative Enns, Representative DeWitt, and Senator Myers have had a lot of legislation come through this year, all the way from puppy mills, which we talked about at the beginning, to pieces of legislation which we're also talking about in terms of RPS, which is Renewable Portfolio Standard, trying to encourage wind power and all those kinds of things. You know, myself, Senator Anderson, and all the other delegation in Enid love to hear from our constituents. So if you could, always feel free to give us a call and make sure that we're hearing what is important to you. And again, it's very easy to get in contact with us. You can reach us via an 800 number, 1-800-522-8502, or you can contact us or my office via email at myjackson@okhouse.gov, or you can contact us through your website as well.
That is exactly right. Engagement creates good legislation, and it stirs up good ideas. Representative Jackson, thanks a lot as always.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.